I found your patrol. They won't be coming back.
You have stolen my duty, Basra.
So?
We were supplied for this task, but you have done this instead. Take what was meant for us.
Hey guys, this is Kit-Kat Paddywhack, and we are back for another episode of Dragon Age 2 Let's Play. Previous episode, what happened was, it was another mission-focused episode that was all about Fenris' companion quest called A Bitter Pill. Probably something about a bitter pill to swallow or something like that. And what happened was, on the way up to the holding caves, there was supposed to be embryum and glitter dust up towards the holding caves, but I forgot to mention that. Oh yeah, and then Hadriana begged for mercy, but given that I left her life in the hands of Fenris, it was pretty obvious she wasn't gonna live.
Lieutenant Harley said I should see you about a reward.
That's it. Not even going to mention your scuffle with Evit's marauders. Killing the whole lot of them.
They killed a lot of good people.
They won't kill anyone else. Thanks to you. There's one small rub though. Their leader, Evit's, wasn't there, was he?
No, they were led by Fel Orden.
Evit's is the worst of the lot. He may try to get revenge one day.
Good to know. I'll keep an eye out for him.
Maybe nothing will come of it. Thanks again for your help.
I saw it coming a mile away when Hadriana asked Fenris, like, is she gonna live if he cooperates? And he's like, yes, you have my word. And it's like, he's so obvious that he's not gonna hold to his word. He's been wanting to kill her since he heard of Daenerys coming back to get him. But it looks like something's happening back at the Hawk Estate. I think it's gonna be my favorite part where, at this point, I maxed out Fenris' friendship, so I should definitely get this scene. I was terribly disappointed when it didn't happen.
I've been thinking about what happened with Hadriana. I took out my anger on you, undeservedly so. I was not myself. I'm sorry.
Better be sorry.
I had no idea where you went. I was concerned.
I needed to be alone. When I was still a slave, Hadriana was a torment. She would ridicule me, deny my meals, pound my sleep. Because of her status, I was powerless to respond, and she knew it. The thought of her slipping out of my grasp now. I couldn't let her go. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
What do you mean?
This hate. I thought I'd gotten away from it, but it dogs me no matter where I go. To feel it again, to know it was they who planted it inside me. It was too much to bear. But I didn't come here to burden you further.
You don't need to leave, Fenris.
I like how Hawk just, like, hissed his chin when it's not even on the lips.
Was it that bad?
I'm sorry, it's not... It was fine.
That's not what you tell someone after sex.
No, that is insufficient. It was better than anything I could have dreamed.
Oh? I can come up with much crazier things in my dreams.
I began to remember my life before. Just flashes. It's too much. This is too fast. I cannot do this.
You're the one who came to me, remember?
I'm sorry. I feel like such a fool. All I wanted was to be happy. Just for a little while. Forgive me.
Ugh, what is that supposed to mean? He wanted to be a
I
little bit
think I'll let
happier.
Sandal
He wanted to be
answer
happier a little longer by being single?
Poor Prince. I told him to stay off the bed.
Yeah, I did not get that sex scene in Act 2. The weird thing was, I got that scene in the beginning of Act 3. What happened was, I did the questioning beliefs act. I did the questioning beliefs scene when he was drunk after doing his bitter pill quest because I didn't have high enough rivalry points at the time. So what happened was, I guess for some reason, somehow, I did not go back to the state after he initially walked away from me. I mean, walked away from me, I mean, you don't have to go, Fenris. And he's like, yeah, you're right, I don't. Something like, don't have to do this alone. And then he's like, yeah, you're right, or something like that. But anyways, he walked away, and I did not realize that was a scene where, it's not really dumping. A dumping scene was when he's like, I cannot do this. It's like, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. And it's like, that was a dumping scene? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's not like we ever got together in the first place. We just had like a one-night stand, technically, so. It never, to me, it never felt like dumping. Whereas other players felt like it was dumping because a lot of players voiced their anger that Fenris dumped them or broke up with them, but to me it never felt like they were in the relationship in the first place. Yeah, maybe they were like growing feelings, but they were never like an item in the first place. And to me it was just Fenris backing out before he committed. So, whatever. In the first playthrough, that flew over my head. I thought he wasn't ready to be in a relationship, so he just left, and then that's when in Act 2, he was banging Isabella.
I've seen how you and that elf look at each other. I'm sure the last thing you need is your mother watching over your shoulder every time you come home. But perhaps there is still life once your children have outgrown you.
You've been through a lot. You deserve any joy you can find.
Thank you, love. No one could ever replace your father. But it is refreshing to think I could still be courted at this age. An elven slave? Maker's breath, I hope you know what you're doing.
She's not a slave! I gave her a job!
Maker's breath, I hope you know what
If
you're
you need any
That's gonna be her only line.
I'm sure my boy would be happy to help. Enchantment! Just so. Quite a lovely estate you have here. Isn't that right, Sandal?
I'm sorry I broke it.
Yes. Well, we'll get that replaced right away. Sorry about that. I'm certain you'll find everything's in order, Messiah.
Greetings, mistress. Your home was difficult to find. I've never been out on my own before, but I found it. Many people know of you. I hope I've made myself useful. I've already begun cleaning and I can cook. Not as good as Papa, but a little. Is there anything else you'd like me to do?
You've been through a great deal. How are you feeling?
I miss Papa, the other servants. I try not to think about what happened. I even feel sorry for the Magister. Is that bad?
I'm sure Hadriana was very thankful for such loyalty.
I suppose she was. I'll serve you just as well, mistress. You'll see.
If you're staying here, Orana, it will be as my servant.
You mean I won't be a slave anymore?
You'll be paid, like anyone else.
A slave is all I've ever been, like Papa and Grandpapa before me. I'll try to be a good servant. Thank you, mistress. You're too good to me.
I think the lighting in my state makes her makeup look less horrid.
Maker's breath, I hope you know what you're doing.
I thought you might like this.
I don't understand. You got me a gift.
Is there some free marches holiday I'm not aware of? Is it a... That's a Tevinter Chantry amulet. Do you want me to get executed? It's sacrilege to wear those in any land under the Divine.
Whoops.
Here I thought you fight for mage's rights. Whoever's bad side that puts you on.
I like it. Maybe not on the outside of my clothes. I'm not that eager to face the hangman's noose. But I appreciate the thought. I've never really thought about what life would be like in the Tevinter Chantry. In the Circle, they make it sound like the Void itself. The Black Divine stalking Thedas, making it unsafe for kittens and virgins.
I don't support the Tevinter Chantry. I just thought you'd like the amulet.
Well, I do. Thank you. I appreciate the gift. Perhaps one day I can return one as meaningful.
Even though he says thanks, he still has increasing rivalry points. Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, most of the gifts will propel them further, so don't expect them to get friendship points just because you gave them a gift. I think Fenris is the most blatant one of all people who reject the gifts. So the thing with Fenris is, for those who want to romance him, there's like 2 ways to go about it. The first one is doing his questioning beliefs scene before doing a bitter pill, because that means you're at the 50% mark, and you'll get the make out glowy tattoo scene. And if you can't do that, and you do the questioning's belief after bitter pill, just walk around, then go back to your state, and then it's when Fenris shows up on the initiative again, and then he'll be going off with the lines like, I've been thinking about you. And then he's like, command me to go, and I will go. And she's like, you don't have to go. And then he initiates the makeout instead of the other way around. And I find it quite funny because the reason why, also another minor reason why I wanted to do the friendship romance or the rivalry romance is the positioning.
You have such pretty hair. What a lovely color.
Other children used to laugh at me for having ginger hair.
Really? Oh, I bet you were cute. Did you have pigtails?
Sometimes.
How precious. Little Aveline running around the village with her flaming orange pigtails streaming behind her. And little boys all scattering and screaming for mercy as she approached.
Shut up, whore.
A classic line. Yeah, the thing with the rivalry thing is, if you haven't seen it yet, is the rivalry romance scene is Hawk pushes Fenris up the wall again, but the problem is... The problem is, I don't know if it was intentional, because if it was intentional, then it looks creepy. But if it was unintentional, then it's just downright hilarious, because when Hawk shoves Fenris up the wall, there's 2 differences.
You've returned. Is there something you need?
Do you sell the ink you Dalish use for tattooing?
How dare you? That ink is sacred. We would no sooner sell it to Shem than we would sell our own children.
You say that, but I just took it straight out of a chest. But yeah, like I said, for some reason, for the rivalry romance with the wall scene, what happens is, first, when Fenris pushes Hawk up the wall, he doesn't maintain eye contact with Hawk, so it makes me feel like he's not necessarily he's not really apologetic about it, or maybe he's just even more reluctant to tone down the force a bit. Or... no, there's no other reason. That's kind of why I like the friendship part, was the subtle eye movement of him, like, frowning, but then not frowning, when he realizes that he was using too much force. But yeah, the whole thing with like the rivalry romance Hawk is Hawk grabs Fenris, pushes him up against a wall, and then Fenris, like, look, for some reason his rigging causes him to look away from Hawk, so it just looks like he's being sexually harassed, and it's unwanted making out, which is hilarious if it was unintentional. The friendship romance is almost perfect, just the problem with Hawk kissing Fenris on the chin, which makes no sense whatsoever. And yeah, that's about it, really. The alternative scene has no rigging issues. I don't know if you guys forgot or if you're wondering why Fenris has a different outfit. The bad news is that that outfit does not come with the base game, and that's actually a mod for Fenris's outfit. And I had it triggered so then it would trigger only if I actually initiated a proper romance with him. Otherwise it wouldn't work. I'm glad to know that it actually works, because now I can see less feathers on him and he looks more decent. And not like, I don't know, fruity or something. I always roll my eyes whenever I have to hear him say things like, "They're the ones who put this plague inside of me," and or like, "This hate, it's like a tumor growing inside of me. I hate it." I'm like, oh my god, Fenris, how long are you gonna keep saying, "They're hounding me, they're pursuing me, they'll never leave me alone"? Like, God, Fenris, stop being so emo! But still, I'm willing to romance him, even though he's a little bit screwy. Isabella, by far, is the most logical love interest. The only downside is whether or not you want your Hawk to risk getting STDs, because it's very apparent that she gets STDs. As evident when you visit Andrew's clinic and you may or may not see Isabella. I think Isabella replaces initial Braun in the STD scene, if you don't have Isabella with you. But other than that, this is the end of the episode, and if you like this video, you can like it, or if you want to follow my channel, you can subscribe to it, or follow my Twitter page for any updates. So until then, see you guys later.